Good morning. That's fine. I've made lots and lots of YouTube videos in my life, and I've never had a camera that shows me on it. I've never seen me while I make a video. And so I don't need to. But I started to film myself, I could see me, and I'm like, oh, I got to get myself in frame more. Yeah, production value. I'm driving to see a friend, and I just thought I'd make a video and just share some thoughts like I did in the old days. One of the things I was thinking about, first off, let's have some coffee. Good morning. I just read all the Expanse books. When I got sick after Keela passed away, I couldn't read any books. I don't know why. My brain wouldn't do it. And so I've been reading lots of books lately. I feel like that's a pretty good indicator of mental emotional health, a recovery, or at least back to the old kind of crazy I was. Welcome to the new crazy, same as the old crazy. Anyway, I read all the Expanse books. I can't remember the author. I can't really even remember the names of the books. There's something like Persephone Rising or Caliban's War or something like that. And I don't know if the titles actually correlate with the story at all. But they were really good. There was a lot of letting the cultures, I think letting the cultures be explored and explained. And I don't know if the person meant to take, the author meant to take as long as they did on certain themes. But I kind of think they did. I'll tell you what I liked about these books. It was a never-ending, slowly ramping up to like the next level. In your mind, you're thinking like, this is getting as bad as it could possibly get. And really, that just opens up a new chapter of that's the baseline of almost normal. Like the books kind of do that. They kind of normalize. Like things get absolutely off the hook, and then everyone's coping with off the hook. I'll give you an example without breaking any story. Settlers land on a planet. It's pretty inhospitable, and then there's a sudden, unexpected global calamitism. What is that word? See, my brain still don't work no good. I'm so close, aren't I? Anyway, things go awry, and it starts basically raining with organisms that live in the clouds, and they live off moisture. So it starts raining, and these organisms land on the people, and there's never been people on that planet before, and the organisms say like, hey man, they got little watery globes right there on their skull, let's go live there, it'd be great. So all the people start going blind, and then out of the ground come out these slugs, and if the slugs touch you, basically you just get paralyzed and die. And so like but that doesn't stop right away. Like that just becomes normal. Like they work out ways to try to keep the slugs out. They're trying to work out ways of how they could still use the computers to analyze the organisms that live in their eyes while not being able to see, or maybe barely being able to see. Like, I think it's just like you're looking at everything through like a green wall, and they turn the font up, the brightness up, and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, and then it just goes, and you think that's just as bad as it could get, and it just keeps ramping up, book after book after book. I think there's like, I think there's more than 10 books, 10, 12, 14 books. Brilliant. I was just as captivated by the last book of the series as I was by the first. Really great. There's a guy I like, Scalagram. He normally does like sword reviews and stuff like that. Every once in a while he'll do just philosophy. And he was talking about thoughts, creativity, like just basically, the activities of your brain. Is it good or bad? Which is kind of interesting. Is it good or bad? Interesting to think about that, because it just is, right? We just think, and we are as creative as we are, or we become more creative as we strive to be. And I've been thinking an awful lot, and maybe I am often really aware that I want to think things in such a way that allow me to have less fear to do other things. Like I want to pick out things I want to do, like when I lived in the tiny house, for instance, and then I want to find some reason to justify it outside of myself. I intellectualize why I think it's a good idea, and then I need to find a reason that would like kind of back that up out from like well, other people do this kind of stuff, that kind of thing. Like like a 9-year-old. Well, the other boys get to jump off trees. But then I had another thought. What if Scalagram's creativity, or my creativity, or my ideas to do things, and especially my idea to try to justify it because other people have done it, what if that's the way creativity and thoughts work? Maybe I'm trying to tune in my brain to an overall signal. Maybe all creativity is a thing that's being broadcast like a radio wave, which explains why not only are there inventions that are invented in different areas around the world at the exact same time, but there's physical feats that people could do, like running the 4-minute mile, that suddenly someone does it, and now tons of people could do it. And so, like, are you saying, like, well, if someone else could, like, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm thinking. Like, I want to do something, and then I look to see if someone else has done it, to see if I could do it. But at some point in time, someone does it first, and then that first person that does it, somehow everything gets easier for other people, even if they don't know that other person did it, which that would be the invention, the people who invent things. There's 2 people that share a patent for something. I believe it's a computer, some sort of an internal part of a computer. And they all had paperwork, dates, and records, physical records and models of them working on this thing, and they're almost exactly the same. So they're like, they didn't know each other, and they were both able to prove, like, no, I started working on it on this date, and this is my progress, these are my notes, here's my first test things. And they both pretty much had the exact same kind of history, and so they both got the patent. That's got to be unusual. And so that's my thought, is like, I'm not having my own idea, I'm actually tuning in to a solution for my desires and or problems, and the solutions already exist. Like all the people that hop in a sailboat and try to go sail around the world, like, that seems to me that's happening more and more often, and it seems like the more often that happens, the more often it will happen. It's like people want to do this thing, and suddenly they're like, oh, like this boat's already rigged out for it because someone already did it. So I suppose, why would that ever be bad then? Because I think it's the same thing. Like, we also think about negative things. You know, people think about revenge. People wish that you know, like, people wish ill on lots of other people, and then you can see in the world where that takes place. It's almost like, and you know, in my mind, actually, there's almost kind of an evil to that. Like, I mean, obviously there is wishing harm, but that there is something, just like there's a positivity out there that we all tune into. If I think more and more about a certain invention, like my brain suddenly more and more, I'm tuning in, and the information that other people have in their heads, I start like picking up on, and the bits that I'm missing, someone's just thought of just those bits, and now suddenly I could do the invention. But what if there's an area of the world where people don't like each other to a certain, like long enough, and some more and more people have this thought in their head of like, we just need to fight, and this needs to be the last fight we ever have, and then like this little area of evil is kind of created, where like it just is easier to think in a violent, awful way and behave in an violent, awful way. Catechism? Fuck, so close. And then you have like the killing fields of Kampuchea before it became Cambodia, and which Cambodia is now like having like border skirmishes with Thailand. Like, there's something wrong with that area. I believe there's something wrong with the psychic energy, the psychic wavelength. I think that area, that radio station of thought has been tuned in on a certain dial for a really long time, and it's going to warp and affect the brains and creativity of the people in that area. So that would be the negative. I've been looking at more property to buy. I was really hoping to sell my house this summer. I think that I probably could have. It probably would have been really difficult. And I would like to do it. And by difficult, I mean like, there's probably some things that need to be done in my house to make it so I could get a decent price for it. It's like certain things that need to be improved or fixed or something like that. So it'd be really easy to pay. I mean, it'd be really beneficial to pay like a plumber or something like that to fix some things. Excuse me. But anyway, I was kind of looking around at properties, and every once in a while, I just see some really, really cute places to buy. Like sometimes savage, like there's a bit of desert land that had a really old well that was overflowing. This well is overflowing. But the thing though is that I know that water in the area also has harmful chemicals in the water, so you probably have to treat it. So, you know, even the fact that it has water there doesn't mean it's drinkable. You know, but then I saw another property. This was expensive though. That property was cheap or inexpensive. I saw some expensive property, like $125,000. Had some fencing, had some structures. No, not housing or anything like that. But it appeared to have electricity, and it had a flowing stream that went by it, a small one, and it had a cement deck or some sort of cement something sticking out over it, which makes me think that it's year round. I think if it was seasonal, you wouldn't build a structure for getting out over it. I don't know. It kind of looked like a little kind of a little baby deck, like a deck large enough to put a couple lawn chairs. So in my mind, by the time I'm ready to sell my house, there'll have been a reason why it took as long as it did. I saw a really lovely house for sale out in the middle of nowhere, all off grid, had its own water supply, its own electricity. What is going on, dudes? I mean, I'll tell you how chill I am. Like, it's normally like people go 65, 70 through here, and I'm going 52. And only when another truck got alongside him and I realized we're all going 52, and I'm like, come on now. You know, here's another thing, maybe the last thing, 15 minutes. I know I said this before, and this is, see, here we are back in crazy land. You know, when people say like this things happen for a reason or stuff like that, I'm kind of thinking that's true, man. Like, and you know, you could point to it, but the thing is, like, I could prove anything with numbers, let's say. You know, like, well, if you take the circumference of the Earth and move it down to this many points, it's actually the same, like, length of the pyramid or something like that. I think there is something about the equator's math and the pyramid's dimensions. But you could prove anything with that. Like, you mess around with numbers enough. So I can say, like, hey, listen, I see life offering things to people. Like, one of my friends has a saying, jump and the net will appear. And, but, you know, I don't know if they actually believe in fate. But I kind of feel like there's been some things in life that have worked out for me that seemed a little too fortuitous. Like, I almost think, like, my house is a great example. My house went for an extraordinary deal, and it was extraordinary good condition. And the second I latched onto it, even my realtor said, how did you find this? Like, I think that I contacted the people like hours after they had it for sale, and I was the second person that contacted them. And then all of a sudden, it was extraordinarily hard to buy the house. Like, all sorts of crazy stuff took place that made it look like I wasn't going to buy the house or couldn't buy the house. And then finally, just everything just all cleared up, and boom, and in I was. But, like, there was something about it seemed a little like fate. Not only that I was able to latch onto something amazing, but then almost fate pushed back. And you know what? I don't mean to be Eeyore here, but I feel like I've had a fairly significant portion of my life where things have gone wrong. I think I'm a bit of a things have gone wrong expert. And I'm not talking about things like Akila passing away or my friend Mike passing away or things like that. I'm not talking about regular life things. I'm talking about people going like, well, that doesn't sound like that's possible. I've never heard of that happening to anybody. And I'm like, that's happened to me a bunch of times. And like, I've never heard that happen ever. And yeah, so I feel both things have happened to me. I feel that life has charged me a fee to have some great things in my life. Like, I've had some things where in my life that have gone amazingly well, where things could have gone awfully. Like my cross-country trip, like different times my bike broke down, and like just suddenly someone's right there to help me. Once it was an actual bike mechanic, and I got my bike fixed. He hung around to make sure I got my bike fixed, and then he asked what they had done, and then he went back and had them redo the repairs on my bike, and said if they wouldn't do it, he would buy the stuff that needed to be done, and he would do it right there in front of their business. And they're like, oh no, okay, we'll do it. They replaced a whole bunch of spokes, and he wanted them to replace all the spokes, and maybe the rim if the rim was in bad condition. You know, so then I get that, goes smooth sailing, man. Nothing happened to you on that trip, but it's going to cost you a little bit. And then, you know, I had some hard times after that. You know, and then the hard times kind of go away, and I get into a career I hate, but a career that most money I've ever made my whole life. So, like, that life's like saying, hey, you're not going to like this, man, but this is the only way you're going to get the kind of money that I think you're going to need in order to get some of the things you want, which is to buy a house. And now I realize, like, I don't enjoy my career, and I'm not really enjoying my house. Like, I don't want to not have a house. I don't want to not have a place to live. But it's not what I thought it was like. I thought having a house would be really great. And I don't think it was ever really great. Like, yeah, I never like, oh my God, I love how I repainted everything, and I demolished this wall, and made the bathroom bigger, or the kitchen has a walk around center table now, or I started gardening, or none about the house, like all of the house possibilities. Like, I turned the garage into a shop, like the man shed, but like that's like almost the psychological grasping onto my past of, like, you come out of the tiny house and then suddenly, like, you spend all your time making the man shed in my backyard awesome. But that was mostly just have a place to chill out while Akila got outside time. Akila didn't think the backyard counted as outside time, so if I hung out in the backyard, he'd hang out with me, and then he'd get tired just from all the activity, birds, squirrels, sounds, smells. Not that I skimped on walks. I mean, you know that. I don't have to tell you guys that. Yeah, so I mean, I think I need something different, like a base. I need a home base that's paid off. I want to buy land, put things on it that I could store my stuff, live in, have a bedroom, have like a living room, and it doesn't need to be a house. Doesn't need to have plumbing necessarily. It could be like a very deluxe campsite, or it could be like, I could put an RV on it, like a $30,000 RV or a $40,000 RV. Put one of those big metal shelters over it to keep, like, the sun, the wind, the water off it, and have that be a base. And hopefully not get rats and mice and squatters and thieves and stuff like that. But then, I could have a few adventures. I'd like to have an adventure. I haven't had an adventure really in 18 years. The last one I went on was my Canyonlands trip, which was great. It took a whole summer. Went and explored the Grand Canyon and just the Canyonlands, from Utah to Nevada and all that. Went to Albuquerque. All right, that's my thoughts. 23 minutes. Oh, good Lord. Sorry about that.